Current indicators suggest that travel restrictions are likely to be with us a while, not only because just 15.4% of the world is fully vaccinated against COVID-19, implying the threat of more mutations, the need for boosters and probably more lockdowns, but also because of political and environmental reasons. We are halfway into year 2 of COVID-19, in what the WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus described as being far more deadly than the first. And it isn't leaving us soon. Robert West, a professor emeritus of health psychology at University College London, said that, "We have to understand that this virus is now endemic, and that we have to be thinking about our long-term strategies for dealing with it as a global phenomenon." As the New York Times announced that the total of known global COVID-19 infections has reached 200 million, with an estimated 4.2 million deaths worldwide, the World Health Organization, WHO, called for a moratorium on booster shots until the end of September to help make sure that countries can vaccinate at least 10% of their populations. What's more, there are predictions of winter surges because vaccination levels have peaked, unless people can be coerced, encouraged to vaccinate, as in France, and herd immunity will not be achieved before the cold weather arrives. As reported by Newsweek, the pandemic is not yet over and pockets of people will remain vulnerable to the coronavirus in the fall, as the cold weather closes in. So will millions of people around the world, who are still vulnerable to infection and have little prospect of getting shots anytime soon. Moderna told CNBC this week that the Delta variant will lead to breakthrough infections in the fully vaccinated as people move indoors over winter, and everyone will need boosters as their immunity wanes. Whilst the virus continues to circulate, there is the threat of mutations, more resistant to our vaccines, which will inevitably lead to more lockdowns and travel restrictions. Israel was the seemingly golden child of vaccination rollouts, but it has had to roll back its tourism ministry-run pilot project. During July, it allowed about 1,500 tourists, in groups not as individuals, into the country, mostly from the US. Now with daily infection rates hitting the 3,000 mark, the tide has turned. As of the 11th of August, tourists arriving from a further 18 countries must self-isolate, and worryingly, these are the bulk of the Israeli market, notably France, Germany, Italy and the US, and this quarantine must happen even if people are vaccinated or have previously had COVID-19. Prime Minister Naftali Bennett told Israelis to avoid gatherings and go get vaccinated now. Otherwise, there will be no alternative to imposing sharper restrictions, including